Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of CNB Bazaar Buzz here on Auto Prime. We are going to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the BMW brand on the program this week. In many ways, the 7 Series, the flagship car, represents what the brand is all about, and the latest one has just driven into India. But that is just a mere coincidence. It is, of course, still nice to have it here now. But we are going to talk about the larger celebration that took place a few days ago in Munich, which is, of course, headquarters and home to BMW. It was quite the grand show, and why not? We're talking about a special brand and a very special milestone. The Bavarian Motor Works are now 100 years old. What started with making engines for aircraft has now become one of the world's most profitable and technically advanced car-making groups. The BMW Group comprises the BMW brand of cars along with the BMW i sub-brand, Rolls-Royce, Mini and BMW Motorrad. It was a fitting celebration of 100 years at Munich's Olympic Park, with all the group brands showcasing what they stand for today and where they are headed. From sustainable mobility to connectivity to future technologies, it was quite the spectacular show. And then came the finale, where BMW unveiled its idea of what the future of its cars would look like with the Vision Next 100. The concept car was unveiled at exactly the same time of the day when the company charter was signed to create BMW 100 years back. The company celebrates its 100th anniversary with the concept that shows where the automobile may head well into the future. But perhaps what is more significant are certain components and design cues that we can see on the Vision Next 100 that will come into more immediate product offerings from BMW. Concept car always points to the future, but this one is taking things not just to the immediate future, but looking at a much grander vision than that. And I'm not going to do the talking about it. Instead, let's get the head of BMW Group Design, Mr. Adrian von Hooydonk, to please speak to us and explain more about it. Thank you. Always a pleasure to see you. And I remember the last time I had buttonholed you was when we first saw the i8 becoming a production reality. This is again a huge leap from there. First up, when you think about it from, starting from scratch, blank piece of paper, the next 100 years, where does the thought begin?
Well, we wanted to focus on driving. That's what the BMW brand has been built on for so many years, 100 years now. And we want to do a design that looks dynamic as well as elegant. And then we imagine in the future cars will become more intelligent. And that intelligence will be put to work in order to make every driver an even better driver. Or when the driver chooses not to drive him or herself, the car can take over. And then a lot of other possibilities will become available. So if you want, we can walk around the vehicle. I think in the front it still looks like a BMW through the typical grille. It will no longer be an air intake, but that will be the place where we have sensors and radars. Lamps can become a lot smaller in the future through laser technology, for example. We believe we can make them this small.
So was it a difficult decision to move away from the twin rings?
Not for us, because we were asked to really think very far ahead, and I think the BMW typical face is still retained. Then we come to something that is actually quite special, we believe, on this car, because we've covered all wheels, as you see, to increase the aerodynamic performance. The difficulty with that is that, of course, the front wheels need to turn, and what you see here is the front wheel turning to the left, and the whole body opens up to allow for that movement. It is not a flexible skin, it is all hard material, so it's many small pieces of skin that work together as one and allow for this movement. The body side, very clean, very few lines, only one key line as you see, and a line that shows dynamic. And then in the interior, you see that actually we've cleaned up quite considerably. There is no longer any display or any switches or buttons in the interior. We imagine that in the future the car is so intelligent that it will only offer information to you when you need it on the main windscreen, and it will only offer the function of a switch when you need that. So in that idea, we can completely clean up the interior like you see here. The way the interior is set up now would be for what we call boost mode. You drive and enjoy it. Then, if you no longer want to drive yourself, you push the BMW logo, the steering wheel folds together and moves forward, and then you have more space that you can enjoy. The seats are designed in an asymmetrical fashion, and they even continue into the door panel. So it's seamless, and with that you can then take a more relaxed position in the interior and enjoy being driven.
BMW says it expects people to use the autonomous mode in traffic, but switch to boost mode to take over and engage in sporty driving. The car's windscreen also plays a much larger role than today's head-up display, and it will add to the driver aids we know of currently. The concept doesn't confirm a powertrain, but the logical deduction is an all-electric or fuel cell powertrain, since BMW calls this an emissions-free car for the future. The BMW Group will unveil 3 more concepts later in the year as part of its centenary celebrations. The first will be the Mini Vision Next 100 that will focus on the theme "Every Mini is my Mini." The next would be the Rolls-Royce Vision Next 100 that will play on the car being a grand sanctuary. This concept will make history, as it will be the first time in Rolls-Royce's 114-year history that it will show a concept car. And lastly, there will also be the BMW Motorrad's Vision Next 100 concept titled The Great Escape. Over 2,000 guests, but luckily I've been able to wade through a lot of people and find Mr. Philip Fonsar, who heads BMW in India. And we know you very well, of course, on our show, so thank you.
Hello,
Philip. It's a proud day for the company. It's obviously something that we knew was coming, and all the components of that story are known to us. But yet, seeing it presented that way, I'm sure you're feeling very proud too.
Yeah, still impressed by this fantastic show, and yes, you are right. Also, me with my 31 years with BMW, also very proud to be in this company. We achieved a lot, and then it's a good reason also to celebrate. But we also look a little bit on this day in the future. First, the main reason, of course, is to celebrate such an incredible birthday, and also to look into the future. That's why the slogan of this event is the next 100 years. And I think the show showed also us some aspects of the future, how to manage it, and I think BMW has a lot of good ideas to manage the future.
We've of course seen this in the last 2 years already, and so that part is not so much of a surprise. But the fact that there's a more global outlook, in your dealings with headquarters as well, you've always told me about how much more involved they are and how much more aggressive as well. The next 100-year strategy, of course none of us are going to be around once that happens at the end of the next 100 years, but as it starts today, are you hopeful that smaller markets like India, which are small today, will continue to play a very vital role?
Absolutely. You said they are small today, but the future belongs to India, and the board and also our new CEO Harald Krüger is fully aware of this, that the long-term growing markets are here in India. And if you also see on the other emerging markets, they are not in a good shape, but India is in comparable good shape. We never know what happens in 2-3 years, but there can be also a volatile year in between. But long term, there's a clear belief in the long-term growth. That means that we will also invest in the future. And also my CEO, Harald Krüger, he said he wants to visit it. He has it fully on the radar. And it's fantastic also for our employees. They delivered so many good performance the last 10 years. And they are in a very strong company and in an emerging market with a bright future. That's really a word. And I think they can also be very proud and celebrate the day today, and that's also important. Yes, the future belongs to India. Absolutely clear that we will also see a lot of more to come from BMW in the Indian market.
It was quite the party and quite the celebration there in Munich, and I can tell you it was great to be a part of it. Now we're going to continue with this theme and continue the celebration, if you will, but in a very special manner. That happens after a very short break. Keep watching CNB Bazaar Buzz.
to book a nice hotel in Goa. Nice. Trivago has a map search. Pool for the kids. And I'm forgetting something. Yes, spa. Let's see my options. Lovely. With Trivago, I can pick my hotel directly from the map and compare prices. Hotel Trivago.
Shot dead last night.
The main accused and 8 others are acquitted for lack of evidence.
But does it really make sense the man accused of killing Jessica Lal is actually out free?
This is a campaign that really represents the power of ordinary people.
NDTV asks its viewers to join a petition to be given to the People's President Kalam.
More than 2 lakh people have sent us SMSs supporting a petition which calls for a retrial.
This must be the highest point in the protest for justice in the Jessica Lal murder case. Jessica Lal's murderer has finally been found guilty.
NDTV staff today, a big thank you.
For once, justice delayed is not justice denied. Her rural influences reflect in her uniquely stylized folk art. Find Madhvi Parekh's artworks exclusively on mojato.com.
जल संकट को हमने गंभीरता से लेना होगा। हम जितना बल जल संचय पर दें, हमने देना चाहिए।
We are spending at least for bathing water 1,000 to 1,500, for drinking water 800, 900, 1,000 rupees.
पानी का बहुत प्रॉब्लम है, पानी आ ही नहीं रहा है। तब बच्चे लोग हमारे स्कूल नहीं जा पाते पानी के लिए।
पानी निकल गया, दूर दूर पानी निकल गया, आजू बाजू की खेती वाले को पानी नहीं रहा, दिक्कत ही दिक्कत है।
Individually, each one of us needs to figure out how in my space I can harvest water.
Now let's go ahead and talk about all of those M cars that we promised you. Sirish Chandran and Osif Chako from Evo India magazine, who are of course friends of ours, decided that it wasn't just good enough to celebrate in grand style with BMW, but instead throw their own little birthday bash for BMW turning 100 years old. And they decided to do it with a whole lot of M cars. Now, to people who follow the brand, this alphabet is really special because it means a lot of fun and a lot of performance. Take a look at what they were up to.
One M car is usually a great day in the office. 2 M cars are epic. Today we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 M cars. Every single M car that is sold in the country, we have it here.
What could we possibly do with it?
Let's find out. Well, months of planning has boiled down to this. A massive car carrier full of M cars waiting for us. This year, BMW completes 100 years and we are throwing them a massive birthday party. Our venue is the awesome Taneja Aerospace and Aviation facility in Hosur, just 10 minutes from the main gates of the TVS Motor Company. What a way to celebrate! The crown jewel of this place, at least for this story, is a 2.2 kilometer long runway that you can land Boeing 737s on. Space then is not a problem. In fact, the twin-turbo M's that you see here can easily bang off the 250 kmph limiter and then have enough space to come to a safe stop thereafter. And so we line up the cars. What a sight it is to see over 3,000 bhp straining on their launch control sequences, waiting to be unleashed down the runway. Our plan is to club them together. The M3 and the M4, the M6 Grand Coupe and the M5, and then the X5M and the X6M, and drag them all down the runway. The winner of each class gets to go to the finals, where we will crown the fastest M car in the country. Is it time to cut the cake yet? Oh. So here's the plan. We've got a runway at our disposal. We've got 400 meters marked out. We have a V-box, and we're going to find out which is the quickest M car of the lot. Now we have the M3 and the M4. They both have the same engine, transmission, 425 bhp, 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds.
We've got the M5 and the M6, 560 horsepower. I think the M5 is 0.1 seconds slower than the M6, so we're going to see which one is better there.
And then we have the two beasts, the X5M and the X6M. Both weigh 2.3 tons. They have 567 horsepower. They have all-wheel drive, and those two also do 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds. This is going to be really interesting.
You say that again.
Right then, we are lucky today. There's not much crosswind, it is not too hot, and we have enough space to light up the candles. Tires. Let's start with the M3 and M4, shall we? Sedan and Coupe, twin-turbo inline sixes, rear-wheel drive, 7-speed twin-clutch gearboxes, the same weight, the same platform, the same everything. The M3 ready to launch. Go. 23 kilos, and the M4 is lighter than the M35. Does make a difference. Half a car length ahead of the M3. The M4 is quicker. Up next, the M6 Grand Coupe and the M5. 560 bhp and twin-turbo V8s with 7-speed twin-clutch gearboxes. Both are heavier than the M3 and the M4, but they have a lot more torque. They should be bloody quick.
Right, so that's it. Waiting for him to drop his hat and we shall...
Finally, time for the elephants. The X5M and the X6M have the same engine as the M5 and the M6, but they have 8-speed automatic gearboxes and all-wheel drive. They are the heaviest of them all, but the X-Drive should give them an advantage off the line. However, their aerodynamics will also come into play as they go faster, and what we need to find out is if the latter will negate the start line advantage. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Man, all-wheel drive, 0 wheel spin. That's a launch. And also with and going and going and going. And yes, one car length ahead. Now, honestly speaking, I don't know if it is the driver or the SUV. Well, it can't be the driver because Osman is also a very good driver. And for the grand finale, it is the M4 against the M5 and the X6M.
This one's good.
This is large.
And look at it.
And this is all wheel spin. This is all wheel spin. So you have to take your foot a little bit off the gas and upshift. So now finally, these are the fastest three amongst the M cars. We do a final drag. Okay, M4 versus X6M versus M5. Which is the quickest to the quarter mile mark? Let's go. And as the sun sets on the Taneja Aerospace Airbase in Hosur, we are ready to have one final drag race. And as I expected, the X6 takes off first. It's got all-wheel drive, but the M5 is quicker. Look at it. The M5 is just pulling away. The M5 is the quickest. It is the quickest M car. The M4 was maybe 5-6 car lengths away, but the M5 is the real deal. That's the daddy. So the M5 it is. It is the quickest M. So the couple of things. The weight. This weighs 2.3 tons. Even though it has all-wheel drive, it launches quickly, so it is ahead at the launch. But then afterwards, aerodynamics plays a huge role. And even though it's got 567 bhp compared to say 550 on the M5, the difference is obvious when you cross 100, the 160. As you go up on the speed range, you can feel the aerodynamics playing a difference. And then the M5 just builds up speed and builds up that gap and the advantage so much quicker, so much harder and faster. Man, that's the car. That's the car.
Well, that is pretty much all the time we have on the program this week. How did you like our look at the 100-year celebration at BMW? Definitely react to it. You know how to reach me. And as always, I will say it. Please wear your seatbelts. Please wear your helmets. Join us on the program next week.